All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's amazing to see everybody in the room today. It's such a beautifully full room. I hope you guys had an amazing AWE so far. We have something really exciting for you guys here today. So thanks so much for joining us for the Startup Pitch Competition. This is going to be incredible. Sorry, one second. The startup to watch will be selected and announced this afternoon at 4:30 at the AWE EU 2024 Wrap-Up and Best in Show Awards ceremony. We had almost 100 startup pitch submissions. There were many excellent submissions from around the world, but they were only able to choose 8 to pitch in person. Many others were invited to attend as XR innovators in the expo hall so they could network with investors and pitch outside the competition. Over the next hour and a half, these 8 companies will each have 5 minutes to pitch their company, followed by 5 minutes of questions from our esteemed investor judges. At the end of the session, the judges will determine the next startup to watch winner, which will be announced this afternoon on the main stage in Hall E at the AWE EU 2024 Wrap-Up and Best in Show Awards. The winner will go home with an Auggie Award. The pitch competition will be followed by a networking starting promptly at 15 and lasting an hour. The networking is specifically for startup founders and investors to build relationships and explore funding opportunities. It will be located in Foyer F. We have a diverse lineup of pitching companies today, and we're eager to hear their pitches. But before we get started, let me introduce you to our judges. We have Petri, Rajahalme from FOH Ventures. And we have Martin Herdina from Hololight. And we have Gina King from Supernode Global. And it's going to move very fast, so let's get going. Our first pitch is by Adele Keane from Imvizar. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adele Keane, and I am the co-founder of Imvizar. We're the brains behind Leander-Pehrson. In the last 3 years at Imvizar, we've built a global experiences platform, and with this platform, we have generated over 1 million in revenue. Our platform hosts over 80 location-based AR storytelling experiences. We call these spatial storytelling experiences. We've worked with a diverse range of clients from kids entertainment to corporate clients like Salesforce. I'll give you a bit of an example of what we do for these clients. Previously, Salesforce, when onboarding employees, used to sit for 2 hours going through a PowerPoint. Now, instead, for 2 hours, their employees explore their towers, holding up their phones, seeing the world come to life. However, we have seen firsthand the amazing impact that this has on audiences. People are amazed when they do our experiences, and we want to make this accessible to the whole world. But there's one problem. It's extremely difficult to do so. There's only a very small niche of people who have the capabilities to do what we do. There are many amazing platforms out there, like Eighth Wall and Zappar and Unity, but if anybody from outside the XR world or tech circle tries to use these tools, they quickly get extremely frustrated and end up not being able to explore our domain. The spatial revolution is happening, and we want to make spatial computing accessible to all, and this is why we have created Leander-Pehrson. Leander-Pehrson is the world's first no-code storytelling tool. We focus on a few different dimensions in order to help people tell a good story. We look at space, time, and most importantly, location. Our tool is extremely accessible. We have a simple drop and drag interface, which is based around our 5 principles of spatial storytelling. This ensures that the end user has a really, really amazing experience. I focused a bit on location, so I'll get more into that now. We're part of the spatial storytelling ecosystem, with Leander-Pehrson being at the center. Leander-Pehrson is a simple authoring tool, but in order to create location-based content, you need to use what's called a VPS. Leander-Pehrson is integrated with all of the top VPSs, such as Immersal, Niantic, and Geospatial. In order to create content, we need to enable people to do this too, to use our tool. That's why we have suggested different pipelines where people can easily create their own 3D models and assets and bring them into Leander-Pehrson. The last piece of the puzzle is publishing and sharing. Anything that is created on Leander-Pehrson can be published directly to our own app, or users can publish it to web or their own app instead. The XR industry could reach up to 900 billion by 2030, with experiences accounting for 65% and tools accounting for 5%. This is an astronomical number, but what it really shows is the growth in the space and how things are going to change in the way that we learn and experience in the world around us. A statistic that I came across only this month shocked me even more. There are more than 27 million paid content creators in the US, with 44% doing it full-time. This means 7% of the US workforce are paid content creators. What this means, ultimately, is that content creators now can use Lerio to enter into the spatial computing race. This is something that we want to empower content creators to do so that they don't get left behind. Let's have a look at Adobe Photoshop for an example. This is an amazing, powerful tool, but it's extremely complex to use, and Canva have made a simple version of this. Canva now has 4 times as many users as the entire Adobe suite. Let's look at another example. What Figma has done to Adobe XD, taking a complex tool and simplifying it. Unity is an extremely complex tool, and Lerio is going to simplify that. Canva is valued at 25 billion and Figma upwards of 20 billion. So if Lerio is anything close to that, we'll be more than happy. So who are the team behind Lerio? I'm Adele Keane. I've previously worked at large animation studios working with Netflix and DreamWorks. Michael Guerin is the CEO who has a background in 5G and smart cities, and Ronan O'Boyle has previously founded his own AR startup. We are supported by a wealth of advisors who've worked at extremely notable industry companies. We are leaders in the spatial storytelling space, and I am certain that we are the right team to democratize spatial storytelling for all. We have currently raised 1.5 million to date, and we're about to open our next round, and we're looking for a lead investor who's as passionate about we are about spatial storytelling. If anyone's interested in chatting to us, please come up to me afterwards. Thank you everyone for being here today, and a special thank you to the judges for listening to me. Happy to answer some questions now.
Thanks, Adele. It wasn't quite 0.5 speed, but it was 0.6, so that was good. Can you go back a little bit and, not necessarily on the slides, but double-click a little bit on distribution, because that's always obviously a big challenge for everybody. So what are the channels? What do you think about distribution? And then the previous panel, we were discussing about mobile AR and leaning on future headsets. So talk to me a little bit about like the future of the distribution on the kind of hardware side. So is it mobile AR and you're happy with that as a medium, or do you think that there's going to be some kind of tilting point once there will be more AR glasses?
Sure. Short term, definitely mobile based. To date, we have absolutely thousands of users across all of our experiences, and if we were going straight to headset, we wouldn't have that. However, we're very much looking at the long-term future, and headsets are becoming a thing. So between the Apple Vision Pro, Meta Quest, and the new spectacles, we're looking at distributing direct to those as well. But really, where we're focusing on is helping people create that content, and then whatever channels of distribution are popular, we'll make sure everything is available on those.
Thank you, Adele. I have a question on your business model, and you mentioned earlier in the slides using or having customers like Salesforce who are using the products. So can you explain a little bit more how you're charging? Is it more of a B2B proposition, or are you also planning to charge consumers?
Sure. So with Lerio, with the tool, it's going to be a standard tool model, so freemium for low-end users, and then having enterprise level, but on a subscription basis. Salesforce one is slightly different, as we created the content for them in that case. So it was a B2B upfront production cost and then license afterwards. But for Lerio, the tool, it's very much a subscription-based model.
Very similar question, and first of all, big congrats to what you have achieved so far. We tried something similar 15 years ago and failed miserably. We had like many million users, but haven't been able to get the monetization out. And that's my biggest question. So how do you kind of plan like distribution? Do you think like about like preloads or like industry partnerships, or like what are your kind of strategies of kind of ensuring you have like a high growth customer acquisition or distribution?
Yeah, sure. So in the last 3 years, working with large corporations like Salesforce or different artists in the kids' TV series, we were creating content for them, and then they have their own audiences. So ultimately, the people who are using Lerio will have their existing audiences, much like anyone who's creating content for whether it's on Netflix or on YouTube. Some people have no audiences and some people do. So it's not up to us to find their audience for them. But that being said, in terms of distribution platforms, if we can post directly to something like on the Snap platform or whatnot, where there's already people there, then that will help people get more viewers to their AR content.
It's more some kind of a hyper-local experience rather than a kind of global platform, right?
Sorry, they say it again?
more of a hyper-local experience, like rather than kind of global distribution platform?
So in terms of everything is extremely location specific, so have to be there exactly, yeah. Great.
Just an extension of my earlier question, for a company like Salesforce or other large companies, what is the pain point that Lario is solving for them, and how big of a problem is it for them to seek out a solution like Lario?
Yeah. So ultimately, it's the lack of engagement through existing forms of communication. So they're trying to instill messages to their employees about their culture, and passive content isn't doing it for them anymore. So they're trying to find new ways to entertain and pass on messages. Aside from Salesforce, we've worked with other big global companies, helping them tell sustainability messages, so visualizing the effects of global climate change instead of just sending out a PowerPoint or a video. So we're seeing a huge influx of people looking for the next level of content to engage with people.
So one more technical question. You mentioned you integrate with leading DPS like Immersal, stuff like that. So practically, this means if like Salesforce has like a local event, do they also need to license Immersal technology to kind of create like a visual map and have their VPS installed, and Lario kind of plug in? Is that the way?
So everything will be done via our platform. So we'll have subscriptions on our end. So when they're just paying their license fee, they can use everything else. So we'll be making partnerships with all the different companies to make sure that our creators don't need to get individual licenses for each platform.
Oh, that's smart.
To make it easier and more seamless. The goal really is to make things as seamless and user-friendly as possible for everyone involved, and that the creator probably will never, ever have to hear the term VPS.
Thank you so
Great.
much, Adele.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Next up, thank you so much, Adele. Next up, we have Mai Ye with Reality B.
Hello everyone, my name is Mai at Reality B, here to present to you Beatbox VR, an immersive virtual reality drumming application. Growing up, I never had the opportunity to play any music at home. I spent hours traveling to a music tutor because the size of my family home wasn't big enough for large instruments. And also, my family doesn't want me to disturb the neighbors. This became the inspirations of Beatbox VR, that we saw many others face the same issue, discourage them from music learning. And a Beatbox VR is an XR drum kit that can live in any VR headset, allows playful learning, and as long as you have somewhere to sit. Beatbox VR gives you a pipeline to learning how to play the drum from scratch by giving you easy access to both drum kits and simple to understand learning resources. You might want to say, okay, this sounds very cool, but why do I or we need your team? Well, in just a 16-week university semester, we developed Beatbox VR's first demo and won the jury prize at Innovate UK Immersive Tech Award. And Reality B has gone on to compete in multiple competitions across the globe, including winning the Best Use of Tech at 2024 Digital Heritage in Nanjing, China, and the runner-up in Utility and Design at XR Hack Istanbul. We are an award-winning team of VR and AR master graduates from diverse backgrounds who excel at creating great works under a tight deadline to produce high-quality products. Currently, Beatbox VR, including four modes, an educational mode, a free play mode, a rhythm game mode, and a play-along mode with a built-in music player, each making use of customizable environments and kits. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, or simply just a VR enthusiast, Beatbox VR can accommodate you and how you want to drum. Across XR apps, the most frequent search topics is education, indicating a strong demand for learning tools in the XR industry. And the success of a game like Beat Saber, combined with a growing interest in percussion and educational content, as you can see in the graph, reveals a significant market potential for music-driven experiences. By integrating educational content, we position ourselves to capitalize on the demand for both entertainment and practical music learning experience. Compared to other products, Beatbox VR combined mixed reality with embedded browser to build and maintain a dedicated player base, guiding them from virtual drumming to mastering real instruments. As our business model, our current plan is to start with a base purchase along with the DLC packages, including theme songs, samples, and cosmetics. To reach young adults, which are our core demographic, we will leverage influencers and content creators, partner with distributors, and offer discounts to keep the game accessible for everyone. During the first year, we are focused on improving core functionality. This involves improving physics engines, also adding new content and functionality to the existing features. We hope to expand to Beat Studio VR later, with our new instrument who can translate practically into XR. Together, we can transform rhythm into reality, one beat at a time, with your beat, your stage, your way. Thanks. As for the Q&A session, I'd like to welcome my colleagues as well as the co-founder of Reality Beat, Nathan, to the stage.
Thank you very much, Mai. Quick question on the target group. You mentioned you addressing beginners, pro users, as well as like VR enthusiasts. What's your sweetest spot? So what's like the kind of target group you really wanna put your highest focus on?
Our highest focus on is young adults who live in like a large city in London who has small flats that's very interested in VR applications. And the most important focus is on our educational mode. So we really want to involve in all VR users that's interested in music and instruments, that get them all involved in like trying to play those instruments, because instruments, like our large instruments, are very expensive in real life. You don't get to try them like at home. You cannot easily afford them. But Beatbox VR just offer you a great chance that it's easy to access in VR application, as well as you can play at home, you can try, and you can know, oh, I'm really suitable for this instrument, and I really want to play it.
Maybe to continue on that and kind of the positioning, because either you can kind of take the rhythm game route or the very hardcore educational route. What do you think will be the differences in kind of marketing and the nuances in user acquisition? And just thinking like the existing group of VR users, they're more probably geared towards the gaming side, the rhythm game side. So yeah, just double clicking on the kind of go-to-market strategies.
So yeah, again, our main audience is with young adults. So one of our focuses that we'd hope to is work with distributors, whether that be directly with VR distributors and or music distributors for those who are interested in drums. So working with people like Evans, Yamaha, Remo, those people who provide those drums. If people are hesitant in making these large purchases, this is supposed to be the initial purchase to kind of see if they can get their feet wet and if they are willing to make that purchase. Because with a lot of hobbies, it's like every hobby is a major investment. So having this initial way to see it easily is a big focus. So again, working with distributors, with music stores to make that accessible. Again, working with young adults, a lot of kids, when they are starting out and learning, it's maybe around the age of 12, which is a lot of 12-year-olds who are playing games in VR, so there is a market there. So again, working with that and maybe with schools as well to work on the distribution. So,
how do you create the content? Do you have in your team people who are educational, have an educational background from music?
So we have a few with not specifically music, but with education backgrounds. We have a few also with drumming backgrounds. So taking in, as well as people, we have relations with those who are professional drummers. So working with those people to create content. Our main goal on release would be working with people, with up-and-coming artists, as well as licensing music from maybe more popular artists to create that content. And then another option is working to either work with Creative Commons music and or creating our own music, like you said.
Yeah, sorry, I'm hogging the mic here, but one question was precisely about like licensing. How do you, like, there is Creative Commons music and free to use libraries, but often if it's recognizable, it's more easily accessible, perhaps for the user. So, and it can be very expensive though.
So yeah, so one of the big things with drumming and with the education specifically is a lot of popular songs, they are based with a core drum beat. So there's like the 4x4 rock beat, there's the disco groove. Those are not, you don't need license to learn that. So being able to teach those core aspects of drumming, as well as by using the embedded browser, you would be able to, again, we can point them towards, oh yeah, these songs are whatever, disco groove is in Staying Alive, or in other songs like that for those different types of groups. So again, not only teaching how and what the beats are, but also where they can be used, because again, building up.
Thank you so much, Mai Ye and your team. Next up, we have Felip with Union Avatars.
Well, hi everybody. I'm Kai. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Union Avatars, and our mission is to help gamers creating avatars that can be used in multiple platforms across different games, using always the same unique identity behind it. We are seeing on the last 10 years a rapid growth on the gaming industry, and we see that more than 83% of gamers are already spending money on their virtual self. That means buying items, buying skins for their avatars. And at the same time, 71% of users aged between 16 and 42, they already, 64, sorry, they are already using avatars. As I was saying, almost 2 billion users are using already avatars on different games and different platforms, and all of them share the same frustration. Every time they access a new game or a new platform, they have to build a profile or an identity from scratch. They don't own it, they don't really have this relationship over the time with their identity, and that means that if the platform disappears, their avatar or their identity will disappear with the platform. More than 60% of users, of gamers, reported already feeling sad when their avatar is lost or deleted. That's why we offer a solution that allows the users, the gamers, to create identities, virtual identities, manage them, and own them at the very last point. To do that, we created different AI models, machine learning models, where we can generate 3D avatars coming from 2D selfie pictures. And just like in real life, we don't dress the same when we go to the office or to the gym, we understand that on virtual platforms, it should be the same. So we offer different range of styles for the avatars, going from a cartoon avatar to a more realistic avatar, so either the user or the developer can choose which style suits the most for them. We also have an SDK, either in Unity or in Unreal, really easy to plug and play. We have developers who did it in less than 30 minutes, so it's really easy to plug. And we have a marketplace for digital fashion creators, so they can come to us and sell assets to the final users or brands that want to sell to the different platforms that we work with. On the user side, we just released an avatar lab, so we allow the users to create different content coming from videos, images, animations, that then later on they can share on social networks. Until now, and since 2023, we already have more than 130,000 registered users who created more than 400,000 avatars. We are having an average now of 800 new users every day, and we have more than 500 developers using our solution. We are also the go-to enterprise solution for companies or corporates such as Accenture or Mango. The market that we are targeting is huge. I think the total compound growth rate is 39% yearly, so this gives us a really good opportunity to be in the forefront of this innovation and this space to be the top avatar company in the near future. I thought we already identified our competitors. None of them offers the same benefit as we do. We are the more optimized, realistic avatar for multiplayer platforms. We offer different styles to suit on the different look and feels for the different video games, offering a little bit more of portability or interoperability across platforms. And we also add a layer of Web3 for those users or companies who want to also keep the track of their assets on-chain. But if our tech sets us apart, our team is who drives the success. Me, myself, I'm a third-time founder with a previous exit, specialized on technology, and my co-founder is a second-time founder with specializations on marketing and go-to-market. We also have a board of advisors coming from companies like Meta, Roblox, or 11 Labs, so we have the expertise and the experience to drive the success of this company. On the near future, we are releasing some new features, such as having a multiplayer addition, so the users can collaborate, creating avatars or assets for the avatars. We're also adding a prompt to avatar generation and a prompt to asset generation for the clothing, for the textures, the colors, and later on for the forms. We are kicking off a next round on the upcoming 3 months, where we expect to raise 4 million, mainly to invest in the R&D part. There is a lot of new technologies and models being born every day, so we need to keep up with it. Hiring some new developers and then focusing on the Asian market, because we are seeing a lot of traction right now from Asian market. It's the second most targeted public that we have. But this is just the beginning of our journey, so we invite you to join our revolution on the virtual identities and shaping the future of the virtual worlds. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. I'm curious about your sales and your partnerships. There are some logos on there that are not necessarily obvious, and so just curious how you're working with them, and if you can elaborate more on your business model, and how also potentially, if you're thinking beyond the gaming use case, as we see, with AI agents taking on more realistic human identities.
Yeah, so on the business model, basically until now, we have been much more B2B. I would say that one of the challenges that we have is that most of our competitors offer the solutions for free. So our focus from the very beginning has been trying to generate some revenue. So we sell license based on the amount of avatars that are being generated per month and the amount of avatars that we are hosting for them per month. So based on that, there is different tiers. We not only focus on the gaming. In fact, since we started with realistic avatars, we were going more on corporates or more education platforms or professional platforms, but then we released this new cartoon style, and it's when we started to approach to gamers too, or game studios, sorry. And then, as you say, we build some agents, AI agents with our avatars. The thing is that we are not really that expert on the backend for this type of AI, so we did some, let's say, human interface or virtual interface using our avatars, but then a lot of companies, what they ask is they want to see the metrics of the questions that people is doing to the AI, these sort of things, and that's not our expertise to set up this kind of dashboard, so we always collaborate with different companies.
My question is more into, I have a twofold question. Part one, how do you ensure compatibility with all major community platforms? And the second one, what's your take on your opinion on the market going forward? Is it going to be like a winner takes it all in terms of you mentioned quite a few competitors, right? It's like winner takes it all, going to have one avatar, or do you believe are going to have multiple avatars on multiple platforms, which is more of a kind of special interest, special purpose model? So I'd love to get your opinion on that.
So on the very specific moment right now, when it comes to the platforms, we have to go one by one, or they come to us, so it's kind of inbound, but they have to implement our SDK or the API. There is some file formats like VRM that we have this file format on the platform too, and more platforms are starting to use this file format, so you can just upload your avatar in the platform, being a user. It's a little bit worse from our point of view, because then we lose the track of the usage of this avatar. And then when it comes to the future, I don't think it will be only one winner. I think the styles of the avatars has been changing over the last years. Maybe some years ago was more, let's say, like Sims based. Later on, we saw more tendency going into Fortnite style. Now Roblox is changing it again. So I think it's something that will change over the time. And for us, the important point is to be always up to date, offering different options, even maybe in the future implementing some different styles that we don't have now, but just trying to become like a hub. Even some of our competitors that started focusing on one specific style, they are changing a little bit the vision now and going more into the multiple style option.
Can you talk a little bit more about the interoperability and the ownership?
I think to say interoperable is kind of buzzword now, so I prefer to say more portability. I think there are some new solutions coming in this direction, like from the Metaverse Standard Forum, and we try to follow up with everything. I think there is no interoperability right now. I think at the same time there is certain consensus that some of the avatar companies we could agree on when it comes to file format, the position of the skeleton, and some really simple things that would make the life of everybody a little bit easier in this side. But yeah, I think that's still one of the issues that we have. And then on the ownership of the avatar, I think that's like we are tending everybody, I think, with all the new technologies now, we are being more responsible on our own data, and users tend to want more to control where is the data being used. So I think that's the path that we are having. I don't know if it will be adding Web3 or not. I don't think blockchain is necessary for everything. But yeah, I think just the fact that giving this responsibility of owning the data to the user is really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kai. Next, we have Maria Le Mura from Beyond Worlds.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Le Mura, and I'm going to introduce you the adventure of Beyond Words. 70% of language learners don't feel comfortable speaking a language after years of studies because they are not exposed enough to speaking practice, and that generates a fear that brings to a lack of possibilities, because being scared of speaking means that they're not going to ask for information or apply to better job opportunities. So that's why we created Beyond Words in 2020, which is an app that allows people to be more exposed to language speaking through practical exercises. So what we do is creating 360-degree videos that simulate real-life conversations, and people can find themselves in a cafe, or they can ask for a schnitzel, they can ask for whatever, and learn actually how to speak through practical dialogues. And what we do, thanks to AI, is that we can also correct them. So we can correct pronunciation if the level they achieved was what they wanted to achieve, and also what synonyms they can use in order to improve their daily practice. Today, we're able to offer 3,500 activities on 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced. And we have 5 languages on the catalog, with more to come in 2025. The traction has been shown since the beginning of our activities, because we have never raised funds so far, and we have been profitable since the beginning. So we have started with 104K in 2021. This year we aimed for 150K. We have already achieved them, and our margin has been over 40%, and we have more than 20,000 users all around Europe. I'm actually talking about Europe because we have been open to export since the really beginning of our activity, and we are active on the UK, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Malta. We are also starting working with South Korea and the US. Our competitors in the language learning market, we could say that the market is pretty full. On our niche, we have 4 main competitors. The main differences being that there are AI integrations to customize the user experience, and also real-life conversations. There are also some solutions that were not really tailored for language learning, but just for practice speaking. So the objective is not really the same. That's why we have a strong competitive advantage on those that we have selected. The market size for Europe for language learning market is estimated to 8 billion euros between 2023 and 2030. And of course, AI is the main growth driver, and that's where we're going toward. About our pricing, we are a B2B-oriented platform. That's why we aim schools, companies and vocational centers. Our average price is 500 euros for a one-year subscription, but we have an exceptional retention rate of 100%, so our initial customers have never left us. And the good thing is that they have added more licenses year by year, so we have acquisition cost that is pretty low. As for the marketing and growth strategies, we have three main entries. We work through partners and distributors that are present in markets abroad and enter the market because they have always been there, and we collaborate with them. We promote the solution to teachers and HR managers that would like to learn more about the method, and then through free courses they get to know the app and then they go to purchase it. And we also have schools and companies that have purchased VR headsets recently, so we offer the solution as an integration to what they already have. Our team is composed by 25 people, but these are the key members of the development. I'm the founder. There's no co-founder today, but the core team is composed by content creators, sales team, and developers. We all work towards the same team goal, which is, well, making language more effective for everybody on a spoken language, not only on an understanding level. And yeah, our objective is to succeed with our project, and we hope you're going to see that too. Danke.
Thanks so much. First of all, congrats on the traction so far. First question, can you talk to me a little bit about yourself? What's your background and how did you come up with the idea?
Sure. I'm a linguist, so I studied to speak foreign languages all my life. I decided I wanted to work in foreign languages when I was 8, and that has been my path since then. I then decided that I wanted to have to create something with a wider impact, so that's why I trained myself in technology, how to build a technology product, and that's how I got to know VR, which was particularly effective for educational purposes, and yeah, that's how Beyond Words was born.
Have you, or did you try the consumer approach, or has it always been a known kind of strategy that we want to avoid that part and just go to the B2B side?
That's actually our objective for 2025. We're going to open to the B2C market, and that's also why we're raising for the first time funds, because we want to go faster, and the B2C market has higher acquisition costs, so we need to have more funds to achieve this objective.
Again, congrats on the nice traction, so it's really impressive. My question is regarding content production. How do you produce those videos and those annotations? Do you have local partners? How do you do that?
No, we actually have partnerships with universities that help us through Erasmus projects or internships to train people interested in pedagogy and language pedagogy. So they send us students for a few months. We train them so that they can produce content. And the internal team is a pedagogical manager and a project manager, so that they're all aligned with the quality standard we have for the content production. However, we have two kinds of content: curriculum related and event related. So for example, everything that is related to Halloween, Independence Day, and so on, that's on an event-based production, so we really are applying everything to what's going on in the world. So if we have to go to Scotland to shoot some content there, then we'll wait for that date. But for curriculum-related content, then we just follow the objectives from what's expected for the level, and we produce that.
Thank you for that presentation. I have a question around efficacy. So do you have any data around the improvement of a user's ability to learn a new language or to retain the knowledge using your solution versus other existing solutions?
Yes, thanks for this question. We have been able to apply for the status of young innovative company in France, which is a status that is only given to companies that really prove the effectiveness of their solutions. In order to do that, we had to run 2 studies with University of Toulouse, and there were 2 sets of data used, one for students that learned the same unit with e-learning and with VR, and another study with other VR solutions and ours. For the first study, the retention rate after 6 months of use of the app was 70% versus 30% for the e-learning. And for the second study with VR solutions compared, ours was 20% more effective. And the basis was always 6 months after having learned the module.
That's quite compelling. And then a follow-up question on the traction for next year when you introduce the consumer application. How do you see the ratio of B2B versus consumer in terms of your growth plan and where the revenues will be coming from?
I think that on the long term, the B2C market might be more effective from the point of view of income, general income, but it's going to take us at least 2 years for that to be real, because we need to work a lot on keywords in order to be well positioned on the stores. Because it is true that the category education is the most researched on VR headsets, but we have to work for the keywords about language learning. So I think that before it becomes the highest, the most profitable market for us, we need to wait at least 2 years. But on the long term, yes, it will be the most important one.
And do you have partnerships with headset producers?
We are present on the stores, on Pico Store mainly. We're working to be on every store, but we don't have special partnerships to be like on the featured apps.
Thank you so much, Maria. Next up, we have Sara Leander from Heka VR.
Hi, everyone. At Heka VR, we do immersive therapy for severe mental health disorders. One of those disorders is psychosis and auditory hallucinations. It's a horrible disorder, to be frank, where the patients hear malevolent and evil voices inside their head and they control their lives. Like Sille here, for example, she's a real patient, and this is a real quote, where Amadeus, who lives inside her head, is telling her to cut off your arm and fry it. There's a huge global unmet need for schizophrenia and psychosis. 24 million individuals worldwide live with schizophrenia and auditory hallucinations. The worst part is that 30% of these patients are treatment resistant. There is no drug, there is no therapy, nothing is helping them. This means that a relatively small portion of patients in the healthcare system is a huge part of the cost. So even if we can help a small group, we'll have a big impact. And the market for psychotic disorders, primarily driven by pharma, is big and growing, $7.1 billion in 2024, and growing by 3.5% per year. So what do we do at Heka VR? Well, we combine 2 things. We combine avatar therapy, which was developed by a team of researchers in the UK over 15 years ago, but the technology wasn't ready. So we take that and put it into virtual reality. And we're the first VR simulation that supports the treatment of auditory hallucinations. How do we do it in real life? Well, the patient and the therapist sit together in a controlled, safe environment and build the avatar of what's going on inside their head. First in terms of what it looks like, and then in terms of what it sounds like. And over the course of 7 treatments, over 12 weeks, they build up the confidence for the patients to stand up against the voice and regain control. Like Vibeke here. After 27 years of hearing voices, she's now voice-free and can live a normal life. We just wrapped up the world's largest randomized trial for avatar therapy and virtual reality with 270 treatment-resistant patients suffering from schizophrenia in Denmark. And the results are staggering. 6 months after treatment, they are significantly reduced auditory hallucinations, and 11 patients went into full remission. That's super cool. There's no significant competition in the market so far. We have plenty of colleagues that are doing similar, but for not severe mental health. So we're definitely in the forefront, but I'm sure others will catch up. We're CE marked Class 1 medical device and ready for the market. We're going to sell on subscription-based, a complete solution, including avatar treatment protocol. We have 3 main ICPs, public and private psychiatric hospitals, that rely on public insurance, public or private insurance reimbursement. And then we have a standalone leg of luxury mental health clinics where people come and pay out of pocket, out of pure desperations, to be frank. We work with direct sales in priority markets and local distributors in secondary markets. We have survived on soft funding up until now, research grants, and plan on continuing doing this because research collaborations are key for further growth. But in 2025, we will implement nationally in Denmark in all the public hospitals. And in 26, we expect South Africa and Spain to continue. We also have large trials going on in the US, Germany, and Australia, and we expect this to materialize in 27 to 28. We're a multidisciplinary team with several people that have started and run startups before, and we're split between a good mix between business, technology, and science. Thank you.
Thank you, Sara. I'm curious, earlier you mentioned the resistance rate being quite high for treatment. How do your customers get their patients to even try this VR solution?
Actually, that's a really good question. Actually, we were surprised ourselves that the patients are really eager to try something new because they have lost hope that anything will help them. So Vibeke that you saw on the picture, she had given up. She was like, I might as well try this because nothing else is working. And she had tried to take her own life multiple times. So for her to find something that actually worked finally was literally life-saving.
Yeah, thank you. Very impressed by the work and the research you're doing there. On the business plan, you mentioned that you plan to kind of see sales pick up, I think next year. How do you plan to do sales? How do you plan to go to market broadly?
So as a first step, we're collaborating with leading researchers in key markets. So first step, we're based out of Denmark. So first step was working together with the leading research team in this field in Denmark. And through them, so it's a slow process, but as long as we can cost control and receive both primarily soft funding now, we can survive until we get the right traction. Because via the research projects, then we get approved, we get the pilot saying that this works, and then the likelihood of implementation is very high after that.
One second question, more on the technology side. Are you purely using the off-the-shelf VR headsets, or would it help if you had like some additional technology built in, like leveraging things like eye tracking or kind of some EEG data? Is that something you're looking into, or is that not of any relevance?
We're currently running a research project on EEG data also. And we're also diversifying into other severe mental health disorders, such as eating disorders, OCD, depression, where we're running clinical trials also. Just couldn't fit it all in the pitch.
Is it just to go to first to market approach, or can you build like a moat or defensibility against the competition?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. So partly it's probably a rat race, but it's also, it's a big enough market for multiple competitors. And there's going to be multiple competitors, and that's a good thing. But we will need to protect ourselves through good collaborations. That's why it's so important with these research trials. So we will do direct sales also in markets where that are big and that can handle it once we have the proof that it works for that market. But otherwise, solidifying, we're in process of speaking to Stanford XR at the moment to enter the North American market, to really get those key research individuals to use our platform.
If we have time, just to get a sense of what is the ambition level on the revenue side. You had some good growth trajectories, like 1.2 or 4 in 3 years' time. How big can this be?
So we believe that once we diversify into the broader spectrum, so not only schizophrenia and psychosis, which is a fairly narrow one, then there's actually potential for this to become really big, especially when we go into depression, more difficult to treat depression and eating disorders. Then I do believe that we can reach 50 to 100 million within the next 10 years. We have another 45 seconds, if there is a question.
Yeah, just real quick on your comment earlier about go-to-market and really needing to capture the researcher audience. What is that process like? You mentioned it's a bit slow. Once you capture the research buy-in, then what's the next step and how quickly can you get to scale?
So actually, the worst part, so to speak, is behind us. So we've done this large clinical trial in Denmark. It was 4 years of work, and now we have multiple trials in the pipeline. So within the next 2 to 3 years, we're actually going to see a lot of that materializing, and that will enable a lot of growth much faster. And once we have that, we can also circumvent the researchers and go straight to the hospitals or to governments and say, we have the proof, this works, you should roll it out nationally, because it helps you save money, basically.
Thank you so much, Sara.
Yep.
Next up, we have Hanna Gegenhuber with InnovationsMacherIn.
Hello, everybody. You may wonder what Storytelling 2.0 has to do with a carpet. But let me tell you, this is not a normal carpet. This is Magic Carpet, a multisensory learning tool where a simple carpet transforms into a magical world through augmented reality. We designed this educational tool for kids in the age of 5 to 8 because those are in a crucial learning phase where multisensory learning enhances their learning success immense. Alone in Austria, there are 355,000 preschoolers and elementary students, and they are in need of those interactive, immersive learning tools. And those kids also need the skills and competences to keep up in an increasingly digitalized world. But we identified a lack of tools that connect digital with analog learning tools, and there's also a lack of interactive multisensory learning products. So we came up with our Magic Carpet that combines all of these components. It enables a fascinating and effective learning experience for our little learners. It promotes cognitive and motor skills through this blend of digital and analog traditional learning. What does this look like? Imagine a child, or maybe your child, your little brother or sister, sitting in the middle of the carpet and scanning the AR triggers with our Magic Carpet app and diving into a magical world. In this case, dive into the world of a forest, and they would learn about their inhabitants, interact with the 3D characters, get quizzes, get stories, and besides that, they also get analog traditional tools with learning textbooks, coloring pages, and so on. So this combination is what makes the magic carpet magical and makes this wonderful learning experience. The whole product is designed by me. My name is Hanna, and my co-founder, Sonja, and we are experienced teachers. We were teaching together, and yes, we have over 10 years experience in teaching from kindergarten to middle school, and now all of our passion for the little ones is flowing into our magic carpet. We are starting with the distribution in Austria because we already have a strong network here. My colleague Sonja is doing over 500 plus workshops a year with classes, with teachers, and I am also the community manager of Teach for Austria, so I also bring a broad network of teachers, pedagogues, and also stakeholders. After Austria comes the DACH market, and of course the world also is waiting for Magic Carpet. We are working on our product since 18 months right now, and currently working and developing the second prototype. So we are very early stage, and we are really, really driven by our passion and joy in bringing our magic carpets to life. Our long-term goal is to sell 10,000 carpets a year. And for the next year, we also plan to roll out 2 more theme packages, because the special thing is also that the AR triggers can be removed and expanded. They are fixed via Velcro, so additional themes can be added. For next year, we plan a theme package about the space, where they learn about planets and about the sea. So we are completely bootstrapped company, we are self-funded, and right now we are looking for a 100K pre-seed investment to speed up development. Yes, and why am I absolutely convinced that the magic carpet is going to fly? It's because of my wonderful team. There is Sonja and me. I told you we've already been teaching together, so you can imagine we've been through highs and lows together. And there is also Nina, who brings the magic into the design of the carpet. And our winning team is completed by our board of advisors, whereas Arkady and Victor, who bring over 10 plus years experience in XR technology and business development. Thank you so much for listening. This was also magical for me because I presented our product for the first time today, and I invite you to be part of this journey that starts right now for bringing more magic and storytelling 2.0 to our little learners. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite my team member, Arkady, to the stage for the Q&A.
Thank you for that presentation. I'm curious just in terms of the way that the children are experiencing the content. Is it through a mobile device?
Yes, it's on one part through a mobile device, and there comes the other part with the analog, also learning content, textbooks, coloring pages, and so on.
And is the device, is your expectation that it's provided by the schools, or is it something that the parents are introducing? I ask also because of the age range that you're targeting and yes, the tension of how early children should be exposed to devices.
Yeah, good question. Right now, our research is, and we also talk to a lot of kindergarten teachers and primary school teachers, that almost every institution right now has at least one device that they can use. It's either a tablet or, a phone. Yeah.
Just to double click on that, and actually I have like 3 of those kind of target group kids at home, exactly in that group.
Perfect.
As you mentioned, like experience via a tablet or a smartphone. Do you mean the kid actually holds the smartphone in their hand and experience with the content presented on that carpet, or is like a parent assisting that kid somehow? How can I imagine that?
Actually, this was also a crucial thing for us when talking to parents and teachers, because there was a skepticism, do I need to assist them? And no, it does not need any assistance or instruction. The kids can play and learn on their own, while, yes, holding the device and learning with the device. Yeah.
First of all, great job for a first-time pitch. So there is an actual physical carpet that you're going to manufacture.
Yes.
And then the second part, like, what is the multi-sensory aspect? And the digital side, is it interactive, gamified? Well,
Yes.
Maybe one concrete example of it.
Maybe you want to answer that question now.
Yeah, maybe I can take over the technical part, because that's the main support where I come from. So yes, the whole stories are totally gamified with gamification. So you need to really click on some certain objects in the environment to make sure the story continues. And the magical thing about Magic Carpet is also it connects the different triggers and builds a whole new story, or you can use this single triggers with an own story. Plus you can exchange them as long as you have new packages you're ordering and getting from the governments or the schools.
And you're uniquely targeting sales to schools, or also kind of just at-home market or consumer side?
So our go-to-market strategy are definitely schools and kindergartens, because, as I mentioned, we already have a really broad network and a lot of contacts to those stakeholders. But beside, we are also planning on selling it on our online platform. So yes, B2C is also a side strategy, but yes, for now, it's the education system.
I made it here. As you heard, it's a totally bootstrap company, so revenue is priority number one, and the quickest revenue comes from B2G, B2B, in this case from the government, where there are talks, plus resell companies, which we're also talking to, which are distributing to mainly all the kindergartens and schools in the DACH region.
Thank you very much for your questions.
Thank you so much, Hanna. Next, we have Tamer Aslan from City Games Vienna.
Hello, everyone. This is Tamer, founder of City Games, and we are here to turn your city into a playground. There's an invisible pandemic happening in our cities, and we are all suffering from it. We call it the urban zombie pandemic. Our modern lifestyles are slowly disconnecting us from the people and places around us. But you know who suffers most? The children. Did you know that children nowadays spend less time outdoors than a prison inmate, whereas they should be outside playing? This is why we asked ourselves, how can we bring more people to go out and play? And our answer is city games. Because cities are cradles of culture. They are like open-air museums, but no one is selling tickets. That's why we created our first game, the Monster Hunt. In our games, you go around the city, solve riddles, catch monsters, and get to see your city with new eyes. But in our Monster Hunts, the monsters are real. I can hear you ask, monsters are real? I'm sure you already met some of them. Maybe the gargoyles of Notre Dame, or the lions of Trafalgar Square, the charging bull of New York City. This is exactly what we do in our games. We see the city full of monsters that are not seen by many of us. And that's exactly what the game is doing. You buy areas in your city, like a museum ticket for 18 euros, and then you go and discover them. And through their eyes, you see your city with new eyes. And we've already done it in Vienna. It's actually been 6 years we are doing an analog format of Monster Hunts, and we've sold more than 20,000 packs. But the best thing is that we have fans, and they want more. And there are just not enough games out there to think about it. There's Pokemon Go from Niantic, and also Ingress, Pikmin Bloom, and several more. There's also a bit more different takes like geocaching or Zombies Run. But there's not just variety. Think of all the computer games, of all the board games, how many different types of games you have there. But there are no street games, urban games that has a lot of different variety. And this proves our point. Location-based games in an emerging $20 billion blue ocean market, which means the people who play these games, and that's what we saw in Vienna, are very likely to also play our games. So how do we capture this market? Step by step. We are already established in Vienna, and we know what works and what doesn't. And now we will use this know-how and our new app to go to 3 target cities: London, Berlin, and Istanbul. Early adopter families, which we know very well from Vienna, they'll be our fire starters. We will gamify everywhere they go, and they will start seeing the monsters of their cities. And then we will use social media to amplify their voices, so the whole city hears about them. For our operations, globalization, we are looking for €900,000 investment. In first phase, we will prepare for internationalization. We will employ more people, extend our team, and also we will start trying the app with our local community. And then we will set out for our campaigns to these 3 cities. We are a group of technologists, creatives, and artists, and we are already experienced, but we know that we cannot do it alone, and we need all the help we can get. Would you be interested in playing our games? Great. Come join our journey. Can you connect us with partners in those cities? We would really appreciate it. So come join our journey. Would you like to invest in us? Let's see what we can go together. So come join our journey. Let's turn our cities into playgrounds and end this urban zombie pandemic together.
Thanks, Tamer. On the expansion side, you had a number on what it costs you. How does it break down between like content creation and then how much do you have for then the user acquisition side and the marketing side? And is it just like relocating the games into the new areas, or is there some other nuances or things that you need to consider?
So nuances in entering new cities is, for example, riddles. So translating some content or the humor in the language, that's one thing. About the budgeting, I would say 1/3 to half would be marketing and advertisement and going to locations. The rest would be for employing people, content creation, and making partnerships. But for example, one thing we realized is that people find monsters and send us. So that would be the base of our campaign as well. And the other thing is also the institutions, because they already have access to databases, especially municipalities, to public artworks. So actually partnerships can also bring us content. So we try to use both of them to save and achieve more.
And will you continue the strategy of the digital the physical packet, or just do it in digital way?
Depends on the market, depends on the institutions. We see it more like the important thing is the IP, the concept of these monsters becoming game characters. We would not separate. The app, of course, can scale faster. So we would try to go first with the app. And once we are a bit more visible there, we can offer it to partner institutions, for example. It depends on the people. Like, for example, imagine Pokemon. There are cards, there are computer games, location-based games, mobile games. It's the world of Pokemon. And this would be our approach as well. We wouldn't choose one or the other, but we would see it as a hybrid experience.
Thank you very much. 2 questions, one a very quick one. I assume you kind of bind content to geo coordinates. Is that correct?
So, can you repeat again?
Do you put content onto like geo coordinates, like GPS coordinates? Is that the way how you kind of bind content to locations?
The content, or let's say the monsters, are already there. So they're already geomarked. For example, if you go to the public artwork database of Vienna, you see all the public artworks already geotagged to specific locations. So the content is already marked. It's more about us gamifying them.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is more on your team's qualifications to design the content, to design gameplay, also to kind of potentially tailor and customize the gameplay towards Istanbul or towards Berlin. What are your team qualifications here?
We have the technology, designer, game design, creative direction. We are actually very, how to say, let's say, mixture of, for example, I studied engineering and then did interaction design masters, so I can do programming and interface design. We are more jack of all arts, master at none at the point, but we know that in order to scale, we need to specialize. So we can do a lot now, but if you want to scale, we need to get specialized people in team.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier the drop-off with the Pokemon Go user base, and I'm curious with your product, how are you building stickiness? And say, for example, if the users who live in a certain city go through the game, you know, capturing all the monsters, how do you then entice them to keep using the product?
What we saw in Vienna is this. We released the first pack, and people loved it. My intuition is, especially children love it, because I think they feel that the game becomes real. So the magic becomes real, and they want to play more. We heard like children ask their families, "Mommy, Daddy, can we play Monster Hunt this weekend?" And then they wanted more, so we released more packs. And stickiness comes from location. So for example, you usually discover the center of the city, and then you go and discover another district, or maybe your home district, or maybe your aunt lives in another area, and then you go and play there. So actually, I think the stickiness comes from the variety in the city.
Can you share a little bit more about your user acquisition strategy?
At the moment, again, like for us, important to see what we do in Vienna, what works, how much we can bring it to other cities. We attended events where these families go. We go to locations where these families spend time in, like museums or shops or bookstores, and we made collaborations with them. When we go digital, it will be more depending on social media content. So targeting these families, early adopter families, and trying to make gamification campaigns for them.
Thank you so much, Tamer.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Artem Kolomatskyi from TouchXR.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're still awake. I'm going to be the last one, and I propose you right now to come back a little bit to your homes. We will talk about this. So I am co-founder of TouchXR Studio. We are 3 times XR Hacks champion during this summer. And the vision of our studio, we believe that we can superpower the humans in their hobbies, in their skills, in their learning, through the mixed reality and augmented reality right now, nowadays. But here is the issue. Technology and innovations currently not truly focus us on physical experiences. They try to replace them, which often makes us feel more distance from each other, especially if we're talking about our home routine, our domestic life. The partners right now feel less connected, and the lack of touch become a very, very big issue through the technologies. So can you remember the last experiences with touch that bring you joy, actually? And we were thinking about this, how we can make a solution, and there had to be some amazing way to find it, and we create MassageXR. MassageXR, it's a mixed reality app which gives you a superpower of the professional massages immediately in your home. And let's the app little bit talk about itself through the demo. So our solution is simple but very effective. It's immediately unlock your superpower, your potential, and enhance your true self in the most meaningful communication between the partners, the experiences of touch. Our target audience is huge. It's already existing tech enthusiasts and early adopters to the XR technology. We will invite the families and friends who like very interesting of meaningful experiences in their home, meaningful experiences with physical connection, and also millions of skill builders who want to become better, improve their skills. Our product includes the innovative way to scan the complicated geometry of the human body. We're using a thin, like a hand scanning, because the camera not working actually right now, but we can use our hands to lay out perfectly the guidance directly on the human body. Also, our content is so seamless, so you don't need to overthink to thinking about the next step. You will enjoy and go all into the process of doing the massage. You're not thinking about the next step, and you will do a great experiences from the first try. And also, the variety of our application is endless because all over the world, so many ways how people experiences the massage and the touch. So why MassageXR? We won the XR Hack in Berlin. We find millions in social media who already love the content like this and looking for something like MassageXR. And we are unique. There is no competitors right now in the market, and Meta is looking for something like lifestyle apps for everyday use. Our business model is freemium. We will offer a free access to our app to engage all the possibilities, all the audience, and we will implement a premium subscription to our app, and we also will collaborate with the brand partners like cosmetics or oil massages in our app. Our market is huge. We will go wherever Horizon OS exists, and also AR, MR glasses who have like a pass-through, real vision, and the head tracking. And we are not too heavy to be there in the future. Our team is small, but we are champions. We won 3 XR hacks during this summer. We have a senior software developer with 10 years experience in the XR industry. I am a high honor graduated developer by XR Bootcamp. I am a product lead with 3 years experience, and I have 5 years in user experience design. So for the tasks which we can handle, we will outsource them to the professionals to make our app exceptional. Our goal to bring this app to the early access to the Horizon OS store in 6 months. And let me clarify the last one. We do not want to replace the professional massage. We want to make the experiences of the communication by touch for every human being acceptable in everyday life and in easy and fun and engaging way, and bring the value to XR for all the people who are not believe that it can have a big value for them, like to be the part of this. Thank you for your time. I hope you will join us on this journey to bring this to reality, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
Thank you for that presentation. have a two-part question about the positioning. So the beginning of the presentation started out talking about upskilling and training, and curious, it seems that you're targeting a consumer market, not professionals. So is your plan to stick with that, or to eventually use this as a mechanism to help people who are potentially interested in becoming massage therapists, to train them in a low-cost way?
Actually, it can be the point in the future, but for now, our goal is just to see how people will interact through the mixed reality with all this application. And usually our focus is to have this enhance their routine life. We are more focusing right now on the consumers, because for them, like, reduce the stress, reduce this muscle pain. It's so easy right now to make it. In the future, when we will get all the experiences, the feedback of our consumers, customers, because of this technology, because of this direction, we will build another app specifically directed for the professionals. I think this app can inspire the consumers right now to, if they really want to become a professional massagist, because usually this is the hard decision. Be professional massagist, it's a hard work. It's physically hard, emotionally hard work. We would love to provide for every one of you the easy, amazing, fun way to enjoy this communication between each other, because this is the first experience what we have in our life when we're just born. Touch.
Yeah, the second part of that question then, because it's a focus on consumers' everyday sort of experiences, what is your go-to-market strategy? How are you identifying your target user base?
So our marketing strategy is to promote, to go through the social media, because they are already waiting for us. The subscription price will be affordable for every family members. I think we will start with a normal price for the subscription apps on the Horizon OS, $9.99. And we believe right now people, we have a lot of headsets in homes, a lot, 10 million already, and it will be much more because of Quest 3S right now. So our audience will grow as fast as the Meta Horizon OS is growing right now. So I think we will be big because we are simple, we are acceptable, and it's easy to understand what you need to do. It's nice to say that you can learn something without feeling that you're learning something. You're actually doing this through this process.
Yeah, thank you, Artem. A question from my end on the technology. If I heard you correctly, it seems like your secret sauce is that body scan.
Yeah.
Could you briefly elaborate on how you do the body scan, how this works?
So actually, because we have right now a hand tracking technology, correct? We implement a specific feature through the code using the Unity engine, which calculate the positioning of our fingers to help us to scan the spine geometry, and we're using some kind of customizable template to adjust the curve on the human body, and it's allow us to implement the direction in any body part. It's not going to be just a back part. It will be like an arm massage, a leg massage, a head massage, because right now hands is the best scanner. And usually in our real world, it's the same. Usually experiencing everything by touch give us a lot of information and experiences. So we use our real scanner.
So much.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll move on to the networking event.